Now, if you're using it as a centralized archive that is the primary copy of all of the assets that you're working on or data for an IT application, then it may make sense to invest a little extra capacity, the equivalent of another hard drive, on that dual disk redundancy. And one of the cool things about Drobo that makes it flexible is you can change your mind at any time. The little message that we see on the screen here is, are you sure you want to change the protection mode? You're going to protect against 2 failures, but we're going to reduce your overall capacity to 5.44 terabytes. So you'd have less capacity available in the system. You'd be using and investing some of that capacity that's physically there to provide the double protection from 2 hard drive failing. So that's how it goes, and it couldn't be simpler to enable or disable one checkbox. So when I said there was nothing you could configure on a Drobo, I guess I wasn't 100% correct. Here's the one thing that you can choose, but if you want to go with the defaults, you could do that as well. Okay, if you're interested in playing around with the calculator, you can go to drobo.com/calculator, and it's an interactive tool for estimating capacity. It can show you exactly what would happen in different scenarios that you have here. Now, for a lot of us who are looking to be green and be efficient with our resources, oftentimes people have a lot of 3.5-inch hard drives already laying around. If they have data on them, real quick warning, Drobo will recycle them very well. Meaning that you won't be able to read the data off of the Drobo, off of the drive once you put it into the Drobo. So if you are going to take existing hard drives and put them into a Drobo, you want to make sure that the data on it, you have it copied somewhere else if you're interested in keeping it. Otherwise, we'll incorporate it in the storage pool, and you can take any combination of drives and create a shared storage system with those drives, recycling them versus throwing away. In fact, a lot of companies pay money to have their hard drives destroyed. In this case, you can continue to use them in a Drobo and get better ROI from them. So we're about halfway through, and I'm going to talk now a little bit about how to use a Drobo here. From a BeyondRAID perspective, how to manage it, you're looking at the instructions here. So most of you probably operated a motor vehicle to arrive at work today, unless you're working from home, but yeah, I'm sure that over the past 3-day weekend you probably had a chance to do a little bit of driving. There you go. It's as easy as following those lights, and if you have a hard drive failure, we'll blink a red light telling you to replace it. If you're very low on storage, like 95% full, we'll tell you to add a drive here with a red light, giving you encouragement to do that as soon as possible. When you get to 85%, tell you to add a drive soon, which is your indication to get another drive, put it on order, go to Mac Mall, and order one so you can add it to your Drobo. It's just that simple to keep your storage system up and running and expanded, which would take you hours, if not days, working with other storage systems. Now, I talked about the concept of smart volumes. In our business storage, our iSCSI SAN storage, which is mostly what I'm going to talk about to finish out our program here, we give you the concept of smart volumes. You can have up to 255 of them, and they're thinly provisioned, meaning if I have a small amount of storage, I can still create 16 terabyte volumes in the system. And what your operating system sees, depending on what it can support, most modern ones see 16 terabytes just fine, you can have that there. For our direct attach Drobos, the number of volumes is smaller, so you'd have 1 or 2 depending on whether you're 4-bay or 5-bay, or if you add more physical capacity than what you have in your first defined volume, will automatically create additional volumes for you. Think of them as drive letters in Windows, or just additional devices that your Mac would go ahead and see. So those are virtualized. They appear as big as you want them to, and in the background, as you fill those volumes up, the Drobo will fill up the capacity and give you the indication on when you need to add more storage. So if I go here to our next slide, there is a management software called Drobo Dashboard version 2.0. We're currently on 2.1.2 is the version, and we continue to make improvements there. One of the biggest things that we improved with 2.x was enhancements for Mac users. We've always supported Mac users, and in fact, it's written in an OpenGL format that allows you to have it look exactly the same whether you're on Mac OS or running on Windows. So it's one of the things the Windows guys have benefited now, because it looks really, really super clean written for Mac. And because Mac OS does not have a iSCSI initiator built in, when you install this application on a Mac computer, it also installs the Atto iSCSI initiator, which is certified for Mac OS X Lion and any of your previous versions of Mac OS, and it'll allow you to use a Drobo via iSCSI very, very simply. It allows you to manage multiple Drobos as well. So if you had a direct attached Drobo, only the ones that were direct attached you could see, but if you had networked ones, which most people would look for in a multi-user environment or an IT environment, you can see them all right there. And it allows you to get alerts like via email if you want to do that even while the application's closed, because it runs as a menu bar item on Mac or a sys-tray on Windows if you're running on a Windows platform. Now, I mentioned before, you just got to follow the lights on a Drobo to manage it. This Drobo dashboard is really only required once when you get the Drobo configured. Once it's configured, you really don't even have to have it there. But odds are you'll have it installed if especially if you're an iSCSI user, because you'll want to use it to help automate how to mount up volumes via iSCSI. So I'm going to quickly talk about the Drobo product line here and then jump into a quick demo to show you some things. Drobo has small boxes that start at 4 bays with a USB or a FireWire connection to allow you to connect the sum total of up to 4 hard drives. So if you were to use 3 terabyte drives, that could be 9 terabytes after protection of storage for a individual Mac, or connected to a Mac Mini as an example, operating as a server in your environment. It tends to be very popular and a low-cost solution there that provides all the benefits of BeyondRAID that I described before. As we go up in size, they go up in performance, as well as some options for connectivity. So we have USB 3.0 as well as eSATA available on the 5-bay Drobo storage, and our 8-bay Drobo storage also includes a gigabit Ethernet port for iSCSI, and I'll give you a demonstration of that in a second. We have a NAS version or a file sharing version of the 5-bay to allow you to do things like time machine backup of multiple Macs to a network storage device, and for you to space limit those shares so that you don't fill them up with time machine. With thin provisioning, one of the things you could risk of having a network storage is that you keep writing to it infinitely and in consuming more storage than you're interested in. In the case of Drobo, because we support Apple File Protocol natively, you can set a maximum quota for that particular share that you're going to use for time machine backup, and once it reaches that limit, it'll recycle within itself in terms of a history so that you don't fill up all the disk space unnecessarily. So some cool things that Drobo does on the professional side. They're also used in small offices. For a business use case, we have 3 different platforms. A file sharing, which is on the left-hand side, which would be for a larger environment where you're doing a combination of PC and Mac backup as an example, and that product has built-in off-site backup capabilities that could be interesting depending on what you're needing to do. And then our 2 products for iSCSI. Great for SMB IT. They're also used quite a bit in creative environments where you have HD video editing or multiple editors in a workflow where you want to have an online archive of all the rich media assets and do editing and management of it from there. The protection with BeyondRAID makes it safe as well as makes it easy to use. And the certifications we have are, from an IT perspective, are pretty much anything that you'd be looking to use it with, to include Microsoft Server 2008 R2, which is the latest of the certifications we'll be adding here for Drobo products, specifically with our B1200i. Now, what I want to do here is look under Event Center. I'm going to share my desktop, and I'm hoping in the process of doing that you can now see that I'm running here the Drobo Dashboard Management software. I'm going to show you a real quick demo here of our B800i. The B1200i works just the same way. You'll see it's an iSCSI system, and in fact, if I were to show you its settings, it has 4 total iSCSI, 4 total Ethernet ports. One that's dedicated for management so that any computer can manage this Drobo and other Drobos if they can get access to the IP address there. And 3 total ports for iSCSI, enabling you up to 300 megabytes a second of streaming performance out of the Drobo with those 3 ports operating at full speed for high bandwidth applications. You'll see here that it's easy to see how much storage is on the Drobo. I've got at about 26% full here. And I've got a whole mess of volumes that, across here, managing lots of different applications. All the ones called Drobo are used for VMware, We support Microsoft Hyper-V and any other applications that you may want to have on the Drobo. Creating a volume is super simple. I'll actually take you through that. If I have multiple Drobos, look how simple it is to manage all of them in one environment. You can, as long as your Mac can see the management interface, or in the case of our B800i, can see the networking ports on a Drobo, and they can be configured statically or will automatically configure on your network. Static tends to be a little bit more repeatable, so you can go ahead and get at it, especially if you want to manage it on a remote network. From your Drobo dashboard, you can see the Drobos that are on your network, or in the case of the one that I showed you, the B1200i, I can connect to it by adding it by IP. So those are a couple ways you can go ahead and manage the Drobos there. But once you get them set up, really the Drobo dashboard would be here, so you can send yourself email alerts from a centralized place. When things happen on the Drobo, you collect that information via Drobo dashboard and email it to yourself to let you know what might be going on. Common things might be, hey, you reached 85% full, it's time to add a new drive, or you had a hard drive fail and it's started to rebuild. We had a lot of folks who call us up and say, hey, you know, I got an email saying that something went wrong, but everything's green. What happened? Well, a lot of times it's a hard drive failed. By the time they were able to get the message and go look at the Drobo, it had already rebuilt itself and gotten back to 100%, which is really cool. You'll see here on this Drobo, I have a couple of volumes. I have a 2 terabyte volume for Mac formatted, as well as a 16 terabyte volume for Mac. If I look at the drives in the system, though, pay attention to this. I'm not sure you can even find some of these old ones. 160 gig, 251 gig, a special Seagate drive there. In fact, that's a Dell drive from Seagate that's in there. A bunch of other varied capacities. With this, you'll see that I've got a bunch of varying capacities. I have, you know, the capacity that's about 56% full. And I've got a volume here, nowhere near 16 terabytes is my actual size. That's my virtualized size. But if I look at that volume, it looks to the Mac as if it's a 16 terabyte volume. So that's that thin provisioning that I talked about. You can create it once, fill it up over time, and be good to go. Now I'm going to open this little video up. And this is just to show you that no matter what you do to the Drobo, you're going to maintain access to the Drobo while it is you know, playing your video or serving your IT applications. Now this might be a little bit choppy over the WebEx, but I'm sure you'll notice that the video just keeps playing. And that's the whole idea. Video just keeps playing no matter what I do with it. Let's go back to status. I'm going to yank one of these drives out. Now let me simulate a drive failure. I pop out a drive. Out comes one of the drives, and you'll see here that quite quickly it says I need to add a drive, and my capacity has automatically been updated. The reason that is that hot spare technology that I talked about. Virtually, I will take the free space in my system and use it to rebuild the RAID. Now, that's going on. You'll see here that it knows that in this system, drive number 5 was previously good, but that drive did come out. We label from 0 to 7 here. You'll see it's telling me to add a drive here because, as I mentioned before, when you're over 85% full, we give you a yellow light telling you it's time to add a drive. Well, we're at 90% full right now, and it means I should add another drive. My videos keeps playing because I am protected from a hard drive failure. Let me show you how easy it is to expand a Drobo. So even while the system's rebuilding, something you wouldn't normally do with another storage system, you can add capacity to a Drobo. So I'm going to take a drive, and I'm actually not going to follow the instructions. I'm just going to put it in that empty slot there on the far right-hand side and watch what happens. In about 30 seconds, you're going to see that hard drive light up, and it's going to incorporate the capacity on that hard drive back into the shared storage system. Wow, look how fast that was. Automatically, the blue lights are updated to show you that we have now more available capacity. The drive came online, and you'll see that my yellow light indicator went away. I'm back to a now comfortable capacity in the system, having added that back in. So that's an example of how easy it is to expand a Drobo. What we just did would take hours to include a lot of planning and a lot of elapsed time and a lot of process time to make that expansion and do all of that work. With a Drobo, it couldn't have been any more simple. And the way I manage iSCSI on a Mac would be to use these little check boxes. You don't have to understand iSCSI storage as long as you're able to connect to it over your network. and you can ping that IP address of the Drobo itself. This iSCSI target name, which might be gibberish to you, for IT folks, they know this as being the address of an iSCSI volume. You can mount or unmount by simply using a checkbox here. So if I go back to my Finder window, you'll see I had a 2 terabyte volume. The 2 terabyte volume went away because I unmounted it. So this is something that can help you out in workflows where you might have multiple users of these volumes. These volumes from a Drobo appear like they're directly connected to your system. You'll see here, it looks like it's directly connected, like a FireWire or USB drive. If you want to use a FireWire or USB Drobo amongst multiple computers, you have to eject it, shut it down safely, and connect it into your other system. Drobo iSCSI allows you to do that sharing virtually over your network, so that any computer that has access to the Drobo over the network can go ahead and mount up a volume, and it'll go ahead and incorporate that into your settings automatically for you, and then have that volume show up, as you see here, on your computer. So you too can be playing new media or editing files or launching applications off of that particular storage. So really cool in the way that we allow you to use iSCSI storage on a Mac. Now that's probably all the stuff I'll show you here from a Drobo perspective. On a B1200i, it operates very much the same way, but the advantage you get is you get automated tiering with SSDs if you want the acceleration for those applications. There are some volumes which I cannot mount, and that's because they're not accessible to me. Someone else has already mounted them. Other hosts are logged in. So that's how you can prevent multiple people from mounting the same storage as far as that goes. So with that, I'm hoping you saw that it was really easy to use Drobo, specifically in a Mac environment, but the same thing holds true for Windows as well. If you do use Windows, you would get the same graphical user interface, and you can see the storage and mount it up just the very same way. So here, I'm going to go back to the event, and we're back now on the slides. We'll go ahead and go to the very next slide for you. Our B1200i, as I mentioned before, has a really great innovative feature called automated data-aware tiering. It allows you to mix solid-state drives or new flash-based storage with high-capacity hard drives. The benefit being both capacity and performance in the same system. We've had that available now for a couple weeks, and I've gotten a lot of great feedback on that particular solution. So whether you want to use it for disk-based backup, you may not need the SSDs. If you want to use it for something transactionally oriented, some video editing, sound work, or IT applications can work great for you there. The same data protection that I talked about, automated RAID management, you don't need an IT person. Capacity planning, same thing. Bin provisioning and reclamation, you don't need an IT person. Where a lot of people get tripped up is how they do performance balancing across different systems. You also do not need an IT person with a Drobo, because we'll do that tiering for you all automatically. Now what is it? It's the first truly automated tiering for small and medium business, and really the only one that allows you to get access to SSD technology and tiering in a price that's underneath $50,000 US. In fact, the Drobo's MSRP through Mac Mall would be $18,000 US for 18 terabytes of storage with 600 gigabytes of SSD. So about $1,000 a terabyte of SSD accelerated storage, which may sound like a lot, but from a context perspective is more affordable than anything. It's a huge breakthrough in terms of what's available. And how we do it, just like we do BeyondRAID and automatically manage all of the allocation of the storage to the disks, we can do so to the next level by choosing to put it on fast SSDs or slower bulk hard drives based on the nature of that data. So if it's small and transactional and oriented, we'll go ahead and characterize it and immediately route it to the appropriate tier. In the background, we'll migrate hot and cold data as appropriate, so you can always get the best mix regardless of what the configuration is. All of the volumes on a Drobo benefit from acceleration with SSDs, which is very, very cool. And it's fully automated, so that as applications change over time, we'll continue to keep it optimized. This is not something that you're going to see with other storage systems. And it's unique in the sense that it's very affordable, and you get application independence. Otherwise, you'd have to tune and specifically provision what type of storage you want to be fast, what time do you want to be capacity-oriented. With Drobo, you get both. And we have a white paper that describes exactly how that works at info.drobo.com/ebook, or you can join one of our live demos that we do, a more in-depth, performance-oriented demo multiple times each day. And what does it mean? You get improved service levels, but you also get that balance of price and performance, something you usually don't get. And all you got to do is get as few as 3 SSDs to get that benefit. So you get a lot of cost savings there with each SSD, and then the more time you save, the more it saves you there. But the biggest thing is really comparing it to the way you'd have to do it before with multiple chassis. Here's an example. Dell's a great storage technology, and you might use it in an IT environment to do performance and capacity. If you wanted to do that, you'd have 2 systems to equal the same capacity and performance, but all manual configuration. So not the same, but at least similar with a lot extra work, and you end up spending more and having to spend a lot more time doing it as well. You could do away with the time thing by over-provisioning and over-building on the hardware side, but to do that, you need 3x the amount of hardware and at twice the cost, which isn't something that's as affordable. And the same holds true regardless of what type of storage you might be buying. So HP storage here that's pretty popular would have a similar type of characteristic, and in the end, you get things that are 100% automatic versus having to do it in a complex way. So real quickly, I'm going to talk about a couple other features, and we'll get to all the questions you've asked online. So thanks for asking those. In our version 1.10 for B1209, we're supporting Microsoft Clustering and Hyper-V, which is great. And we made some great performance enhancements, which is good for folks who have used Drobo before, or if you go online. To be honest, you'll find a lot of people who are reviewing Drobo to say that the performance isn't quite what they were looking for, and we've made some great enhancements here, even in hard drive-only configurations for our products. So it's something that will help out in things like video editing and other work that you might be doing. Can you use SATA drives with SSDs? Yes. Can you use 2.5-inch SSDs in a B1209? Yeah. You just need to have an adapter like an IC dock. Can you have only SSDs in a B1209? Will it run faster? The answer there is no. We built the system to be a great benefit of capacity and performance at the same time. So just add a small number of SSDs. Think of it like adding some hot sauce to your favorite meal. Spice it up perfectly for you with just a little bit in there to balance price and capacity there. Now, you don't have to have them in there up front. You can add them at any time, which is great. For folks who want to put some smaller SSDs into a Drobo, you'll see that you can do that with the B1200i today with an adapter like this IC dock system. And I can go into some of the sizing guidelines, but from here what I'm going to do is just flip through this and get closer to the end here and take some of the questions that are live. Rest assured that regardless of what type of solution you wanted to put in there, whether it's a server virtualization, whether it's video editing, whether it's offsite backup and DR, you can do those sort of things with a Drobo, and we've tested those solutions to include a how-to guide, a expert webcast with a expert from the vendor that we're working with, as well as other assets that are available on our website to help you as a smaller organization implement these sort of things. One example could be cloud backup with our Amazon Web Services Storage Gateway. Amazon, the biggest name in cloud storage, you can use them as your offsite backup of Drobo iSCSI storage with a very simple virtual appliance from them. So that, in addition to a bunch of other ones, are very interesting. And from a Drobo Live perspective, if you wanted to get specific questions answered in a smaller setting, you could join on one of our live sessions and ask one of our experts, myself or other ones that might be doing those, to give you a little more information about what it means in your specific environment. Let's take some questions here, though, about folks who have some questions there. One question is, for HD video work, we're talking 27 megabits per second, those data rates for videos. What system for production connection performance options would you recommend? Anytime you're going to be doing video editing work, that is fairly demanding work that requires not just good throughput, but also lower latencies to give you a great level of service, so it's not sluggish. If you're used to editing off of a direct attached FireWire hard drive, you could use a Drobo S as an example and get a very similar level of performance, but most folks are looking for bigger and stronger than that. So we'd normally recommend at a minimum our Drobo B800i iSCSI storage. It would allow you to use that gigabit Ethernet connection and through it get the benefits of that throughput as well as better overall system performance. And what we'd also recommend is you put a minimum number of hard drives in the system. With a RAID system, your I/O performance increases with the number of drives that you put in. Not just Drobo, any other RAID system would work that way. So if you can put 6 drives into a Drobo that are, let's say, 1 terabyte versus putting in 2 3-terabyte drives, you'd get overall better level of service from the system that had a larger number of smaller hard drives in there. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to designing a solution there for video editing. So we'd recommend that B800i. Its price point is $39.99 on MacBallEmpty, and I might have to correct myself, I don't have the website up right now, but it's in that MSRP $39.99 range. You can mix and match your own drives. We'll talk about some promotions that we have on those systems as well. And our B1200i, if you're more of a video editing studio and you want to have the highest level of performance with additional redundancy in power supplies and fans, you can get the B1200i, which will not only give you better IOPS, but it supports the SSDs. So you can really have very fast video editing work that you might otherwise not be able to get with regular old hard drives. Another question, can I use Active Directory user accounts with a Drobo? And the answer is that the way I described here, if you're on a Mac, you can mount up a Drobo iSCSI volume or have Drobo Direct Attached Storage. It shows up just like a hard drive. If you were a Windows shop, you could do very much the same thing. Those hard drives could be used as a part of a file server, and that file server would be tied natively into your Active Directory and your user management and security policies. So iSCSI and Direct Attached Storage work great with Active Directory. If you wanted to use a Drobo NAS or the Drobo file sharing product with Active Directory, that's where you're going to have some limitations. And you'll have that with just about any network attached storage that you might buy, because user management would be done on the NAS itself and not through Active Directory. There are some solutions out there that offer some level of integration. There isn't that option for Drobo file sharing products. So if you wanted to use our Drobo 5-bay FS or our 8-bay B800 FS, you wouldn't want to use that if you're interested in using user accounts in home directories with Active Directory. We have a lot of customers that are using it, but they might use it as a departmental file share where they have a small number of users or groups that are administered on the Drobo itself versus as a part of Active Directory. A lower cost way of putting it out there if you don't want to manage some of the stuff like a marketing department or a creative department doing their backups. You may not want that as a part of Active Directory, so that's an example there. Another question, been waiting for Thunderbolt solution. Why no Thunderbolt interface on Drobo, and will you be offering one soon? Today is the 29th day of May of 2012. I can't give you any forward-looking statements on exactly when you'll see it, but you're very likely to see a live demonstration of this technology very soon. I'm not going to give you the exact date, but it won't be long at all now before you see us demonstrating Drobo products with Thunderbolt, as well as having those things available in the marketplace soon. So a little too early for us to give you an exact date, but I will tell you that some good stuff's coming for folks who want to do some research on the internet. They'll see that Drobo is a licensee of Intel Thunderbolt technology, and we participated in the last Thunderbolt Plug Fest that was held in Taiwan. So we are actively working on that technology, and for folks that are looking to have a direct attached storage solution, a smaller one, not the big ones like I'm talking about with our iSCSI SAN, but for some of the smaller solutions, having that directly connected to a MacBook Pro or a new Mac with Thunderbolt, those will be available there soon. So we're right here at the top of the hour, and I thank everybody for participating in today's session. I think we got through all the live questions. What I'll tell you is if you have any more questions, you can chat with us live on any one of our Drobo product pages. The chat window will pop up. You can get with them or send us an email if we're offline. Why is it all important? A lot of people have saved a lot of time and money with Drobo, and we really appreciate MacMall for giving us the opportunity to share this information with you. The surveys that we've done completely independently show that there's a lot of benefits to be saved here because everyone everyone's got storage, they need more of it, and they probably don't have enough time or money to do what they really need to do, which is why Drobo comes in. So I'll mention really quickly before we sign off, there are a couple of special offers. You can win a 4-bay Drobo, not win, you receive it as part of a promotion when you purchase any of our B800i SAN products. So the same product I demoed for you here today, you can receive that MacMall part number for a free 4-bay Drobo. Folks will use that as a direct attached storage for one of their Macs, or they might even use it to put behind a Mac Mini as a server solution, or back up to it and rotate that media offsite. Great complementary product to a B800i iSCSI SAN from Drobo. If you buy a B1200i, the one with SSDs and tiering, you get a 5-bay Drobo of your choice with that purchase. So some additional things here. I can't tell you whether or not you should take it home and use it there. Odds are you're going to want to. But we are helping making it more beneficial by giving you some extra storage there when you buy one of our business class products. Now, if you're part of the government, education, or nonprofit sector, you can receive up to 10% additional discount on our business products through MacMall if you're interested in buying those for those use cases. And to be honest, the #1 user of Drobos worldwide is the government, the education and nonprofit sectors here in the United States. Clearly because they're easy to use and they're affordable, fitting right in with the challenges that most of those organizations are facing. You can get a $200 discount as well on our Drobo FS NAS, so the MSRP on that is $699, but we've discounted it to $499 at MacMall, so that's an offer you can take advantage of, or get an additional $100 discount on that NAS on June 3rd, so it's 1 day only. If you're interested in getting that, it sounds like that's the day to do it here on June 3rd, so you can set yourself a calendar reminder there. Another discount on our Drobo S, the other 5-bay eSATA, USB, and FireWire solution there for a small photo or video editing shop. That's a 1 day special going on June 5th. So with that, I really want to thank everybody for attending. Thank you, MacMall, for organizing this webinar. We've done a lot of great things to get better, and we have live demos, live chat, and great document assets to really help you out. So if you remember anything, it's Drobo's different, folks. Easy to manage, like managing a traffic light, and 200,000 customers are already agreed that they've chosen it because it's of ease of use and its expandability. So thank you very much for your participation today.
Thanks, Mario. It's been great. Thanks, everyone.